All right. How are you guys doing today?
We're good.
All right.
Awesome. Doing awesome.
My name is Earl Alexander, or better known as Earl Morale or Cav Ticket. A lot of names in these streets, right? People can get to know you that way. And thank you for joining us here at SongLab. This is a podcast that we're doing while having artists, producers in the mix at a studio and allowing them to pretty much make music and present that to, that's really what we're here for. But at the same time, we have people in the building that need to be acknowledged and a lot of prominence here today. So we definitely had to take a moment to make sure that we captured that. And there's great people here. So I'm going to be introducing you to some of the artists later. But right now, I want to introduce you to the people I have in front of me. Let me start with Free.
Yeah.
And let me make sure there's a good camera so you can see her.
Oh, good side.
Yeah. There you go. And go ahead, Free. Tell us more about yourself right quick. She is the owner and operator of freethetruth.com, but that Free is spelled differently. THA, right?
Yes.
Truth, TRUTH.com, and Conversations with Free the Truth is a podcast. Convo with Free the Truth is a podcast that she hosts. But go ahead, tell us a little bit more about that.
Yes, Convo Sessions with Free the Truth was just me trying to do something for the community, and kind of evolved into lately being more about my healing journey. So I've been taking more into that realm, and I just initiated the Happy Healthy Healing Tribe, and just providing a space where people feel safe to go and heal. I think it's very important for our community to take time for some self-care, some mental health, and some spiritual awareness. So I'm implementing my experience and my journey and putting myself out there in hopes that other people who can relate can, come and join the tribe. And I'm also hosting a spiritual pop-up shop. So I have crystals and sage and all types of things. I even created. Are we allowed to cuss?
I'm gonna leave that on you. If we bleep it out later, that's also
okay. Because it just so happens to be the name of my product, and it's called Bitch Be Gone. It's like it's like sage in a bottle, because you ain't always in spaces where you can just light herbs on fire. So if you are in a presence of negative energy, I refer to all negative energy as bitch. And, just spray and it will be gone. Clear your space and, preserve your positive energy. So that's my movement right now, just encouraging and vulnerability and healing spaces.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
We really need to clear our space from these bitches. Well,
absolutely.
And we are joined by a really prominent guest today, a man that I haven't heard of, honestly, until today. Because I'm gonna be candid, I'm gonna be honest, and know that I need to get up on my education, right? Let's not say that Arizona has a good educational system out here, so I ain't heard about the people who I need to know about, and they wouldn't teach me about this person in class anyway, if you want to tell the truth. So let's go ahead and introduce you to this next youthful in mind and heart, but definitely wise in spirit and educated man, Dr. Benjamin F. Chavis. I just want to say that correctly. Dr. Benjamin F. Chavis. And trust me, you guys got to look this man up. Do your own Google. Do your own studies. But I do want to list a few things that I have here, notes taken down about this gentleman in front of me. Look, he has a Lifetime Achievement Award. A Lifetime Achievement Award. Can I get a quick understanding of four? Can you explain to me real quick? I just want to stop here to know, because I'm not educated enough to even know about Lifetime Achievement Awards.
Well, thank you, Brother Earl. It's good to be in your presence. It's good here to be in this SongLab with Sister Bree and Sister Tish. And with you, Earl, I'm Benjamin F. Chavis Jr. I'm from North Carolina. I was born in 1948. So when I have my birthday next week, I'll be 74 years old.
Okay.
I was the youngest person on Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s staff. I worked with SCLC in the 1960s, 1962 to 1968, up until the time Dr. King was assassinated in Memphis, Tennessee on April 4th, 1968. So my whole career is civil rights, fighting for the rights of Black people and other communities of color, not only in America, but throughout the world. That's sort of my background, and so the Phoenix Suns recently gave me a Lifetime Achievement Award based on some of the things I've been able to achieve over the last 70 years.
Now that's amazing. Throughout your career in social justice and everything that you've probably done for the community and around that, and what you're saying even has worldwide implications for the things that you've been doing. It sounds like you truly deserve it. That's awesome. That's wonderful
thank
to
you.
hear.
It's good to be here. But we don't live in the past.
Correct.
We can learn from the past, reflect on it. But I'm here because it's 2022. We got work to do.
Okay.
We got voting rights,
Okay.
particularly here in Arizona. We got stuff to do, man. We've come a long way, but we still have a long ways to go. And I'm very encouraged by young people. All the artists that are out here. I think the young generation today is the most creative, the most talented, most intelligent generation of young brothers and sisters that we've ever been blessed to witness. However, our young people need to be encouraged.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I'm here to give a word of encouragement to all the artists, all the cultural geniuses that sometimes don't even know that they're geniuses. And I want them to be involved and help create a positive future. I think we have to shape the future, we have to plan the future, not just wait for the future to happen. We have to determine the future, create our own narratives. I was very much involved with Russell Simmons, founder of Def Jam Records. Currently, I'm a member of Dipset, Jim Jones. So I have civil rights, I'm an ordained minister, I'm a chemist, a science person. I work with Nelson Mandela, I work with Martin Luther King Jr., I work with Malcolm X. I work with Minister Farrakhan. I work with John Lewis, C.T. Vivian. I've named, long as I've worked in the movement, you get a chance. Unfortunately, the movement is not as big as people think it is. So we get a chance to interact, intersect, and work together. So I'm just here to depart and to share a few gems of hopefully wisdom to these up-and-coming artists about what the game is all about and about what is expected. I'll say this. I defend the artist's right to have creative expression. Most fundamental human right is the right to self-expression. But with the freedom of expression comes responsibility. We have to be responsible for what you put out in the universe. I believe in karma. What you put out is what also ultimately comes back to you.
Bro, legitly clap for that right now.
Yes.
Honestly,
Yes.
we really can.
Yes.
Yeah.
You want to ask a question?
I just want to pick back up after all those wonderful accolades and say on behalf of a generation who may not be aware of all of the work that you have done for our community, I just want to take time to say thank you right now while you're here and say thank you for lifting our community up with everything that you could with your platform, because it added to us. You know what I mean? So, and just growing up and like, he took off his mask. I'm like, oh my God. I remember him.
Yeah, the movie Belly.
Yes, cultural icon right here. So it's nice to learn more of just not your presence in a movie, but your presence in the movement of our advancement as Black people here in America. So thank you so much.
Well, thank you, my sister.
That's really important that she mentioned that. A lot of people think that he's tethered to the past, but actually his pulse is right on what's going on today. And he has made quite a contribution to the world of hip hop. Some will never know just how much. He went in the courtrooms with Ludacris and other artists to defend their right for freedom of speech. He was instrumental in the labeling of CDs saying parental advisory to make sure that that music could still come out, but that, there were some agreements to honor not just the language, but the freedom of the artist.
Yeah.
So there's just, right now, he's working with space rights, civil rights to space rights.
Wow.
But his pulse is right on, not just the present, but the
And that's great. We definitely need that. I think for us to move adequately into the future, we need the expertise and the wisdom of the past. But it's not really just the wisdom of the past, but it's like the experience, the understanding, and just everything you don't get from not having been through it before, or not having seen what's over that hill when you go there. And the problem that I see with today is we have a lot of ideas, we want to do a lot sometimes, but we don't understand how to get started, or we don't understand how to prepare for what's ahead of us. And those are the things that kind of hurt us and stop us from excelling to where we need to be. So it's great to have people like you that are not only reaching down to us who are inexperienced and just doing what we can as we can with what we know, right? But also you're doing more to spread that into the future for us through all of your actions. So
Well, thank you. As I listened to you, Earl, I think that your generation, you have more opportunities today than ever before, technologically, but also the consciousness of our people. I think is very important. But what are we conscious about? What do we go to sleep at night thinking about? What do we wake up in the morning thinking about? We're doing this podcast, this broadcast, on January the 15th, 2022, which is the actual birthday of Martin Luther King Jr. The nation was celebrated on Monday the 17th.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're here in Phoenix, of all places. And I could be around the United States. I'm here in Phoenix. I'm glad to be here. And I really didn't know when I got off the plane this morning that I was going to wind up being in the SongLab. But I'm glad to be here. And I think that we should take every opportunity, because no one really knows what tomorrow will bring. Let's deal with today. But we deal with today leaning forward. We deal with today expressing our aspirations. And I think when a lot of people talk about Dr. King's dream just wasn't at 1963 when he made that famous speech on the March on Washington. We're forecasting to a time when our nation would judge people not by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. And we're still not there, but we are much further down that road than we were 50 years ago. And so each generation has to, it's like running a relay, man. You have to take that baton and make sure that you run your lap or laps, and then be prepared to pass that baton off to the next generation. And that's what gives me hope, because I think that it's just not a struggle here in America. It's all over the world. It's a global struggle. I'm preparing a podcast now called A Luta Continua. That means the struggle continues, from the liberation movement in Southern Africa. I was very much involved. Also, not only in the movement here, but Nelson Mandela and I were very close friends. And when I was the head of the NAACP in 1993 and 1994, I actually invited Nelson Mandela to speak at a national convention of the NAACP in Minneapolis. And he reminded all of us that the struggle is worldwide. But in order to be involved in a global movement, you got to first take care of business at home. The movement starts in our own families, in our own households, in our own businesses. And that's where I think that young people today should not allow some of the contradictions of our society to hold us down, to hold us back. Poverty doesn't start in what's in your pocket. Poverty starts what's in your mind. So in order to change, to get us out of poverty, we've got to change our mind about what's acceptable and what's not acceptable. You know, and how if we get ourselves into a track where we can build some wealth rather than sustain some poverty, we've got to make sure we share that with other brothers and sisters. But we never have, in my view, we shouldn't have to reinvent the wheel.
Mm-hmm.
You know, shouldn't have to go out and look for some mystery. Life is not a mystery. You know, there's some well-defined principles that we should be living by. Just to talk about mental health. You know, it's healthy to want to not accept injustice.
Mm-hmm.
That's why when George Floyd was murdered, you have all these young brothers and sisters talking about Black Lives Matter. Absolutely. But Black Lives Matter also has to mean how we treat each other.
Right.
Oh, can't just say, oh, we're against white folks killing us and then we kill each other.
Mm-hmm.
That's a contradiction. You know what I mean? So our music, our songs, our lyrics, our videos, our beats, our dance, our swagger, our lifestyle, it has to reflect what's in our mind, what's in our heart, what we aspire to. You know, and that's why I am always, I'm encouraged every time I'm around young people like you, because I see you, you know, grasping the technology, you making the things connect in ways. See, when I was coming up, there was no such thing as a podcast. Nobody had a cell phone. The internet didn't even exist.
Right.
We were still making flyers and posters. You know, it was word of mouth communication.
Mm-hmm.
You know, telephones. You know, I was the national director of the Million Man March. We were still using fax machines. You know,
They organized the Million Man March without the internet or cell phone.
right,
Mm-hmm.
right. And but
Phone lines and facts.
but we got over 1 million brothers to Washington D.C. on October 16, 1995. No drama, no East-West Coast conflict. No, didn't matter whether you had on blue or red, still brothers. No,
Now let me take a minute to say that's not a million likes.
no,
That's a million people
Right.
They took
moving from their
buses,
towns, taking
trains,
buses,
that's
planes.
right.
doing whatever they could
That's right.
to come to one location to stand in unity.
That's
And
right.
you have to understand how powerful that is. And it should have sent shock waves through history more than what it has. And
still be
you get what I mean?
reverberating.
It's today. That is
Right.
And one statistic that the mainstream media won't tell you about that day, on that day, October 16, 1995, black on black crime went down to 0.
wow.
We didn't kill each other. We didn't stab each other. We didn't rob each other. We didn't disrespect each other. You should have seen the brothers in D.C. They were opening doors for sisters. It was raining the day before. Brothers were taking off their coats so the sister would step in the rain. Man, if we can do that one day, we got to be able to do it every day.
Yes, that was like my next question. It's like I love these beautiful moments when we all show up for each other. We tribe up. That's what I call it. We tribe up.
That's right.
But like, how do we make this a day-to-day lifestyle?
Sustainable.
You know what I mean? Like, I want to feel that every day. You know what I mean?
He's talking.
But here's the thing. That's why the segue into why we're here.
Yeah.
Look, our music,
Mm-hmm.
our song, our vibes can help us have that sustainability.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why, you know, I tell a lot of young brothers and sisters, again, particularly in the rap game, they're trying to copy and be like somebody else. I said, hey, man, hey, sister, be yourself. Because everybody's been given something. Everybody has not just one gift, many gifts. Tragedy of life is to live your whole life and never discover your own God-given gifts and talents.
If you let your life pass without
That's right.
finding it's like it's your purpose and passion mixed into one. If you let your life go without finding that,
That's right.
you feel regret. And
That's right. And it's never too late to change gears.
Yeah.
I mean, I know some OGs just finding out what a G is.
yeah,
You know, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So age is important, but age is not the most determinative factor.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, and if you slip, get back up. Even if you get knocked down, get back up. The perseverance, resilience, you know, keeping pushing forward is so important.
And Dr. Ben spent most of the 70s incarcerated as a political prisoner,
Yeah.
member of the Wilmington 10.
yeah.
Let's talk about perseverance for a minute. Let's talk
Okay.
about resilience.
Yeah, but I refused because I knew we were innocent. I refused to serve time. I made time to serve the movement. So I was organizing. Well, they put me in prison, so I kept organizing while I was in prison. In fact, the day that they let me out, the warden packed my bag and said, "Please don't come back to this place."
That's how you want it to be.
Hey,
That's how you want it to be. They knew you didn't belong there.
Tell them, Dr. Ben, how you refused to let them penetrate your mind. You talked about the mind earlier. Talk about the prison psychiatrist.
yeah. Well, again, when you again, I want all the listeners to understand there are other places to go to strengthen your faith. I'm not recommending anybody get themselves arrested so they can strengthen their faith.
Mhm.
In fact, you got to take faith with you before you get jammed up, because the faith will help you be able to say. But what Tish was referring to, normally in most prisons, particularly if you have long term, before they sentence you, after they sentence you, but before they determine what prison they're going to put you in, what custody level, whether or not you're a risk to society, they give you an exam, a psychological exam. So I remember the exam they gave me, the prison psychiatrist asked me, said, Reverend Chavis was up with an ordained minister at the time, said, "What did you dream about last night?" I said, "Escaping." And he said, "Oh, man, you're not supposed to say that." I said, "Well, yeah." I said, "You're a psychiatrist, right? It's not normal for me to be in here, so I got to figure out how to get out of here. So dreaming about escaping is something healthy."
Yeah.
You know, and he was shocked. In fact, I probably became his as a psychiatrist. I was going to put him down on
He
the
said,
bed.
"Could you write a book so I
Right.
can read it?"
So what I'm saying is conformity. You should never conform to the structures of oppression. Because if you conform, then they got you.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
That is oppression.
you just become a little statistic.
Yeah.
You know, I remember they gave me this prison uniform, something long, serial number. Said, "This is your number." I said, "Oh, that may be your number. That's not my number." You know, how we identify, the identity is so important. You know, can't allow other people to shape our narratives, define us. You know, I keep in mind, when I was born in 1948, to call somebody black was an awful thing, because we've been socialized to think there's something wrong with being black.
Mm-hmm.
Then when the Black is Beautiful came, and songs out of the 60s, the movement songs, turned that around. Started saying, "Black is beautiful."
Mm-hmm.
Even James Brown said, "Black and I'm proud."
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And Gil Scott-Heron and all the lyricists. That's why I saw a connection between the emergence of hip-hop and R&B and jazz and gospel. All of our genres of music speak to not only our social condition, but speak to our aspirations to change our social condition.
That's beautiful. You know what I really get from that is that throughout time we've really learned how to repurpose and weaponize our pain against our oppressors, and that's actually a quality and skill that we learned to hone, and we need to continue to use that. But I'm thinking in a way to heal now too at the same time, because I know for a fact a lot of people around me still hurt about these things, even though they haven't personally experienced it. Like if you notice, a lot of people are very passionate about their opinions and how they feel about this stuff, even without having the experience, which to me is, I'm just going to be 100% honest, to me is kind of, well, I think we should have that fervor behind it. It's still a little, unsettling when some people want to have that level, and yet they don't.
The rage and then not knowing how to channel it and direct it. Like Benjamin, and as his manager, I'm parroting a lot of the things about his life because I think there's so many messages in his experience. He's been arrested how many times?
68 times.
So if he can walk in here with a smile on his face and not lead with the way he was treated by the wardens and the police.
Well, I learned from my mentors. Dr. King used to teach us that bitterness only distorts the beholder. So I can't afford to allow how people have mistreated me, particularly in prison, to determine who I am. You know, I have to leave that to them.
Would you say that would be a continuation of their oppression?
Oh, absolutely. I think, why did they, during slavery, why did they whoop us in front of other slaves? It wasn't just to put punishment on the slave that tried to escape. It was to make the others fearful to try to escape.
Mm-hmm.
So you know, I believe that our expressions, whether it's in music, whether it's in dance, whether it's in literary, James Baldwin, I was very close friend with James Baldwin, one of our greatest writers. And he used to tell me that there's power in pen. Pen is more powerful than the sword. It's how we use it. Chuck David said that when rappers spit, it's more powerful.
Wow. Yeah.
What are you spitting?
Yeah.
There's interest. So I come to the SongLab sense of optimism from seeing the long view of things. When I was in high school and in college, I was a track runner. And track. My coach used to not chide me, but encourage me. Says, "Keep looking straight ahead," because I would have a tendency to look back.
Yeah.
I wanted to see where everybody else was. And the coach said, "Man, you're running like a runaway slave, because you're always looking back." And I had to explain to him. I said, well, particularly I was in a relay team. I wanted to make sure that when I passed that baton on, my brother or sister was right there to take that baton. So we learn about even sports. You know, I think we excel in sports. We excel in music. The thing about, I hope that the artists know, you got to take care of the business side of your culture. You got to take the business side of your creativity. Because a lot of times we are creative geniuses, but other people go to the bank off of our creativity.
Yeah.
So we need to start going to the bank off our own creativity, build wealth in our community. That's why I'm always encouraging my brothers and sisters to be in the studio, sometimes all night long, you know, and trying to find that congruence, trying to find not just that beat, but how that beat intersects with the truth.
Yeah.
So I'm very grateful to have this opportunity. Absolutely. It's a collaborative.
Yeah.
You know, we need collaboration.
Yeah.
This is, you know, fighting for freedom is not an individual enterprise.
Absolutely.
It's collective. It's a mass thing.
I just want to say thank you very much for blessing us with your presence. I mean, it's honestly an honor to be sitting across the table from you.
Well, thank you.
Thank you. And I didn't introduce her, but I did want to before you guys left, but it was Tish K, right? Manager of the Chavis Group. And hey, you guys came in. Thank you very much for being here. I hope all the artists take a minute to at least shake your hand before they do, so they can just gleam off your presence and off of everything that you've done. Honestly, the history is amazing and wonderful. And one tidbit that I did pull from speaking to you that I did want to share was that problems may be worldwide, but the solutions are personal. So take a moment to see what you can do in your own life and for the people around you to fight for the causes that mean the most to you. Don't just let them pass or exist in your life. And look at Dr. Chavis's life and see what he's done. Look at him as an ideal type of a role model to copy and to bring into your own life and actualize your fight that you say that you have. So I just want to bring that to people too. That's my personal thing. I know I try to do what I can daily as well. But thank you very much.
Before I run out,
go ahead.
So I hope that they're able to take a look at some of his highlight reel on his social media. At DRBENCHAVIS CHAVISJR, at Dr. Ben Chavis Jr. on Instagram. And he has a phenomenal television show on PBS. It reaches 90 million homes weekly, called The Chavis Chronicles.
All right.
I would love for them to take a look.
So before we run out of here, Tish, Bree, Earl, I just want to go back to that ending scene in the movie Bella. When DMX had a gun on me, I had to try to talk the brother out of not just shooting me. But in my address to DMX, I wasn't just talking to him. It's from the heart I was talking to our brothers and sisters. I just want to close with this. In 2022, you still represent the fire. You still represent the truth. But now is the time, more than ever before, to not only represent that truth, but to be that truth. Not for one day, not for 1 month, not just during Black History Month in February, but every day, every moment, every second, be that truth. If you be that truth, the world will respond, the world will embrace, and all of us will be lifted up because we stand on the truth. God bless.
Very much. SongLab.
Thank you for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe.